The city felt heavier that night, as if the streets themselves were holding their breath. Adrian's apartment had turned from a sanctuary into a battlefield of silence. Emily sat on the edge of the couch, her pale hands trembling around the cup of tea she hadn't touched. Adrian paced back and forth, his jaw clenched, eyes burning with restless fury. The truth about Dylan was no longer whispers in Emily's sessions, it was claws wrapped around both of their throats. For weeks, Dylan had been the shadow pressing against their doors. The man who had once played the role of her savior, her safe place, had now become her nightmare. Adrian knew it, every patient's fear made manifest. But it was more than professional. His heart was chained to Emily's, and every moment Dylan prowled near her, those chains cut deeper into his soul. Adrian broke the silence. "Emily, this has to end. You can't keep living like he owns you. We either cut him out completely, or he'll never stop." Her blue eyes lifted, drowning in fear. "You don't understand. Dylan doesn't just threaten. He makes people disappear. He ruined my father's company just because he said no to him once. Adrian, if you go against him, he'll destroy you too." But Adrian had already decided. His role as her therapist was over, that boundary had been shattered long ago. Now, he was something else, her shield, her only escape. And for that, he was willing to burn. He leaned closer, his voice low, steady. "Let him come. Let him try. But I promise you, Emily, he will never touch you again." Adrian arrived at his clinic to find the waiting room empty, the receptionist pale and trembling. A single black envelope lay on his desk. Inside, a photograph, Adrian's apartment, the curtains slightly open, Emily's silhouette visible inside. And beneath it, a single line written in sharp, slanted handwriting. "You've crossed the line. Now she pays." Adrian's stomach knotted, his fists tightening until his nails dug into his palms. It was Dylan's signature move, psychological warfare. Show that he was watching, show that he was untouchable. That night, Emily admitted she had seen a man following her on her way home from work. She hadn't told Adrian because she didn't want to burden him further, but the truth was, she hadn't slept in days. Every sound outside her window felt like Dylan breathing down her neck. Adrian made his choice. They couldn't just hide. They had to face Dylan head-on. A week later, Adrian set the plan in motion. He arranged a dinner at a quiet restaurant on the outskirts of the city. Only 3 people knew of it, himself, Emily, and Dylan. Because Adrian sent him the invitation directly. "If you want her, come and face me like a man. No more games. No more shadows." Emily nearly broke when she found out. "Are you insane? You can't just walk into his hands." Adrian only touched her cheek gently. "I'd rather die fighting him than spend my life watching him destroy you." The night of the dinner, the restaurant was nearly empty. A storm pressed against the windows, rain streaking the glass like tears. Emily sat beside Adrian, her hands cold against his, her breathing uneven. And then Dylan arrived. He walked in like he owned the world, sharp suit, cold smirk, eyes that glinted like a predator's. The waiters froze. Even without words, Dylan carried power in his presence. He slid into the seat across from them, his voice smooth as poison. "Well, isn't this cozy? My therapist and my patient, dining together like lovers. How unethical." Emily flinched. Adrian didn't. His gaze never left Dylan's. "We're done with your games. Leave her alone, or I'll make sure every corrupt deal you've ever made is exposed." Dylan chuckled, low and dangerous. "Expose me? Do you think I don't own the very people who would investigate? Do you think this city runs without me pulling the strings?" He leaned closer, his smile widening. "And Emily, you should know better than anyone. You were mine long before he ever touched you." Emily's eyes filled with tears. Adrian slammed his hand on the table. "She was never yours. You've only ever taken, through fear, through control. But that ends tonight. Dylan tilted his head, studying Adrian like a cat with a trapped bird. Tell me, doctor, are you prepared to pay the price? Because if you keep her, I will dismantle you. Piece by piece. And when you have nothing left, no career, no friends, no freedom, I will take her back anyway. The storm outside roared louder, thunder cracking across the night. Emily could barely breathe between them, the man who had ruined her and the man who was risking everything for her. Her voice trembled, but she finally spoke. Dylan, stop. You don't love me. You never did. You only love control. And I'm not yours. Not anymore. For the first time, Dylan's smirk faltered. His jaw tightened, his hand curling into a fist against the table. The predator had been challenged, not by Adrian, but by Emily herself. Adrian's chest filled with pride, but also fear. Because he saw it, Dylan's mask cracking. And beneath it was raw, unfiltered rage. Dylan rose slowly from his chair, his voice cold as steel. You'll regret those words, Emily. Both of you will. The restaurant emptied in seconds as Dylan's men appeared at the door, shadows moving through the rain. Adrian stood, shielding Emily behind him. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady. You'll have to go through me first. Dylan's eyes gleamed. Gladly. What happened next was chaos. A glass shattered. Chairs overturned. Adrian fought like a man who had nothing left to lose. He wasn't a fighter, not like Dylan's trained men, but adrenaline and desperation turned him into something else entirely. He threw one man to the floor, swung a chair into another. Emily screamed his name as Dylan advanced, calm amidst the violence, watching Adrian burn himself out. Finally, Dylan moved. He caught Adrian's arm mid-swing, twisted it back until Adrian cried out in pain. With a cruel smile, Dylan leaned close to his ear. You can't save her. You'll never save her. But before Dylan could strike deeper, Emily acted. She grabbed the heavy wine bottle from the table and smashed it across Dylan's face. Blood streaked down his cheek as he stumbled back, his men momentarily stunned. Adrian pulled Emily toward the exit, their breaths ragged, hearts racing. They ran into the storm, Dylan's roar echoing behind them, a promise, a curse. They didn't stop until they reached Adrian's car. Rain drenched them, Emily shaking, Adrian's body aching with bruises. But in that moment, they were alive. Adrian gripped her shoulders, forcing her to meet his eyes. This isn't over. He won't stop now. Emily's lips trembled. Then what do we do? Adrian looked back toward the restaurant, where Dylan's men were already spilling into the night, searching. His voice dropped to a whisper. We go to war. And then the screen fades to black. What would you do if you were Emily? Run away forever, or stand and fight against Dylan's power?